Transportation Museum. We've been members for a couple of years now, and it is one of my kids' favorite things to do, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best values. If you have kids or if you just love trains, the membership is just so affordable and you get so much out of it. They love coming, we love coming, I love coming. I'm an N-scaler, but I ordered the HO scale 2601 just because I love this place so much. So, first of all, let me see, who all has a YouTube channel here?
I do.
All right. Who all here has a, we won't say complete, but a pretty good sized model railroad here? And who here, it just loves trains? That's good, all right. So what I'm going to talk about today is just some of the insights I've learned from YouTube the hard way, so maybe that you guys don't have to, and I'm also going to talk about how it's very specific to model railroading, because model railroading is a little different when it comes to a lot of other YouTube channels when you think of stuff like Mr. Beast, for example, or Mark Rover, for example, those big channels like that. Model railroading is a little bit different. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about what got me started. I think a lot like you, I was a model railroader as a kid. One of my weird memories that I have is way back when I was about 3 years old, I think. My dad's sitting back there, and he'll probably remember this. He was building a little N-scale layout. That's probably why I'm an N-scaler. And he had the expanding foam, and I remember that smell. And because it was associated with trains, that's one of my favorite smells now. So that's a weird thing about me. I've also loved video production, miniatures. I am also a big nerd. I love Star Trek, and I grew up with The Next Generation. And so that is like the pinnacle of television miniatures right there. So seeing all that, yeah, hey buddy. And I've done all the major scales in HO, O, and G, and I want to try Z, I want to try S, I want to try T, I want to try the new Nano that's out there now. Basically just want to try trains. And I did have a big garden railroad in high school that my parents luckily let me have the flower bed on the back porch, and it was that was a learning experience about how hard garden railroading is. So on the video side, I am an App State grad, proud Mountaineer. All right, there we go. I worked at 2 TV stations. I'm originally from around Greensboro. I worked at Fox 8, WGHP, as a news photog out in the field. So hopefully I haven't seen you because a lot of the stuff I went to wasn't great. And then over on the Charlotte side, I worked as what is called a creative services producer at WCCB, Charlotte CW, used to be Fox Charlotte. That's basically the guy that writes and makes commercials for clients. So that's kind of my background. I've also worked a lot with production companies and things like that. I've worked with NBC Sports, Coca-Cola, Aspen, FedEx, Verizon, many more. One of the coolest things is I got to work at Super Bowl 50, and I got to be about 6 inches from the Lombardi Trophy. So that's one of the cool things that I've done. But let's get into how does this all connect with trains. So, well, first of all, I love model trains. And I love the many different aspects of model trains, and it's something that relaxes me. I think that's one thing for a lot of us, is that it's just something that we can kind of zone in and do that. I was doing that last night. I was building a little DTM kit. Videos and trains are my 2 different passions, so it was just a matter of time before they came together. So this is how the channel started. First of all, I'll tell you something I don't think I've ever told anybody on a video. DIY and Digital Railroad was inspired by names of other railroads like Norfolk and Western and things like that. And I wanted to start it with doing DIY stuff and digital products. You'll probably see me do my Arduino tutorials, but it's grown into a lot of different stuff. But this is how it started. I was into doing switching and operations. I was really looking into that. This is right around the time that the expansion to the beer line that Model Railroader put out. So that was really getting in on that. They were putting their video series on operating that, so I was really getting into operations. And I created this Google Sheet that can basically do an automatic switch list for you, so you don't have to do any car cards or anything like that. It just tells you where something is and where it needs to go. And I put that up on the Model Train subreddit, and someone said, hey, you should do a video on that. And I said, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And that was the second video I ever did. The first one was showing my layout, and that's how the YouTube channel started. So the things we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about getting started. If you haven't gotten started or you're just getting started, we're going to talk about growing your channel. We're going to talk about maintaining your channel. We're going to talk about opportunities, and we're going to talk about some problems. I got some funny stuff on the problems, so that's going to be fun. Now, what are people most interested in when you're talking about model trains? Now, there's basically 3 groups. You have your general audience, which is trains, trains, trains. I don't care what it is. I don't care what scale it is. I don't care if it's real. I don't care if it's a model. I like trains. That's going to be your broadest audience for what you're looking at for model trains. Then you're going to have the casual modelers who want to see some things with trains. They may want to build a 4x8 with a loop and switch or something like that. They may be interested in doing the scenery and electronics, but they're not trying to model something specific, more prototypical. And then you got your avid modelers, like a lot of us, that are looking for very specific tutorials on very specific items. And these are people that are looking on how to do things for specific locomotives, road names, things like that. Think about the people that are really invested in like how well Scale Trains does their rivet counter series and how invest the rivet counters. I don't know why I didn't say rivet counters first. Now, because of this, you can see that very specific videos are good for beginning your channel because that's going to get your niche audience, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But you're going to want to limit them a little bit as you grow. So let's talk about that. See how many clicks it takes to get to the next slide. Come on. It's coming. There we go. So getting started. Some of the things you need to do to get started is you really need to niche down. If you come in trying to cover everything, everywhere, all at once, you're just going to be lost in the shuffle. You want to build your core audience by niching down. That means you want to do something specific. When I did it, I started off with doing Arduinos and just a few little DIY things. And you need to regulate your expectations. Your first 10 videos are probably not going to be 10, 20, 50, 100,000 view videos. They're just not. So if your video gets 1,000 views, if your video gets 500 views, be excited about that. Those are wins, and celebrate your wins. But you also need to be starting to try a bunch of things and see what sticks. So try a bunch of different things. If you've been with me since the beginning, I tried a lot of different things. I tried doing little live streams. I tried a couple other things that I'll talk about that were things that I just tried and they worked out. But when something does stick, like I said, consider doing a little bit more of it, but keep trying new things. These are a couple examples of niching down right here. These are from my first 10 videos on YouTube. This was using a little $10 Raspberry Pi Zero, which I don't know what it costs now, but for putting JMRI and running your railroad. This was setting up JMRI on your railroad, and this was building an Arduino-based block signal. Those are still 3 of my biggest videos. But this was where I got my core audience, was people that were looking to DIY all their electronics on their model railroad. And that's where I was able to get my foundation, which is the most important thing. And you can see when I talk about regulating expectations, I'm looking at maybe in my first year of being a partner, I had, well, you can't really see it, can you? I had a total of 267,000 views for the entire year. That's a great start, but it's not going to be what you're going to be comparing yourself to everyone else, even yourself later down the road. So don't compare yourself to all the big channels. Do what for you is big wins and celebrate those. Don't get down on yourself. And then also trying a bunch of things. How many of y'all have ever seen Dollar Store Model Railroad 5s? That was literally something that I did where I just took $5 to the dollar store and see what I can find for model railroading. I literally needed a video that I could do quickly because I just come back from my Amtrak trip that I did a video on the California Zephyr. I was like, I gotta do a video, but I don't have a ton of stuff and I don't have time to do a big project. And that blew up into a whole series. But you see, I also tried model railroad operations. I got DIY scenery on dirt, so just try a lot of different things. Now, let's talk about growing. Growth comes from trying new things. Now, when your audience increases, their interest is going to gradually decrease. So think about it, circles within circles within circles within circles. So your smallest circle is going to be your most avid, hardcore fans who are most interested in exactly what you do. But that circle's not going to grow. You're going to get into a bigger circle of people who are a little bit less interested. And then as you grow, you're going to go into an even bigger circle of people that are even less interested. So this is why you need to broaden your topics and continue to try new things. So here's a couple things, 2 things that worked and 1 thing that didn't here. One was doing more different Arduino tutorials involving a little bit of 3D printing, and then I went straight into 3D printing. Those things have worked. The model railroad quick tips, I don't do those anymore because they didn't work. Maintaining your channel. The key thing to maintaining your channel is figuring out ways that take barriers away from your creativity, because your creativity is what's going to make you unique. So the first thing you want to do is keep your posting schedule reasonable to something that you can do. I am a professional video producer, which is why I can do 2 videos a week. I know the ins and outs and everything, but you may not be able to do that. You may be able to do 1 good video a month, and that is perfectly okay. Don't let anyone push you into saying that you need to be posting every other day. You need to be doing all these things. You need to be doing Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all these kind of things. You need to be doing all, no, just do what you can. Remember, you're doing this for your enjoyment first, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. The second is to make a budget. Now, probably when you first start, you're not going to have anyone banging down the door to do a sponsorship or anything like that, but you also need to make sure that you're not just throwing cash down. Like with anything else, you need to make a budget. And then you also need to use tools that you can find to streamline your productivity. These are 3 that I use. You don't have to use them. Motion Array is a video plugin that basically automates a lot of things without getting too far into it. Opus Clip is something that can take basically long talking videos, think of podcasts and something like that, and automatically make vertical videos for TikTok, Reels, things like that. And Buffer is a scheduling software, so I don't have to schedule it on each individual platform. You can do up to 3 different things for free there. So when you're doing things like that, streamlining your productivity is always a good thing. Opportunities. Your most common opportunities are going to be collaborations, advertising, events, and products, and the most common thing you're getting offered is collaboration. Now, you're going to have a lot of things. Now, how many have been with me since I got hacked? Has anyone been there that far, that long ago? That was from me being dumb and not looking into an email and clicking a link. Yeah, I know. But the most common thing you get offered is a free product. If someone's straight up offering you cash, by the way, just run. Like, they're not offering you cash, they're trying to hack your channel. But these are some of the, this is something funny, because this is not a trick question. What does my channel do? Anybody? What is my channel about? There we go. All right. These are some of the emails I've gotten in the past week for collaborations for products. This one is for a wireless outdoor security camera. This one is for, what is it? Let's see here. I'm trying to see what it is. Oh, some sort of AI service, because that has anything to do with me. Oh, a sunrise alarm clock, wake up, and bedside lamp. Can y'all see me doing a video on that? Let's see here. This one, oh, this one's great. A cordless mini battery powered chainsaw. Oh, and this one too. I'm sorry, my wife's in the back. I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on this collaboration right here. They wanted me to review the purse. And then this one, oh, neck and shoulder heating pad too. So, I mean, if you do see me wearing one of those in the video, that's where it came from. But oh, I have a lot of these. Oh, ozone generator. They kind of just throw these out there and hopefully, and a lot of these are also scams. They want you to click that link and they want to basically get into your browser, get your information, take your YouTube channel, and they'll sell it for $500 to $1,000 on the black market. Now let's talk about some of the problems. This is going to get fun here in a second. So for production problems, you're never going to have a perfect production. Something is going to go wrong. Last night I was recording a video, doing actually the thing I'm doing for Monday, and my card ran out on my overhead cam, and I didn't even notice it until I was like 5 minutes through a project. I was like, well, I'm going to have to explain that in the script. You're going to have problems. Don't worry about it too much. Just be prepared for them. Be prepared for that. If you need to postpone a video a little bit to make sure the problem is corrected, that is totally okay. Most people are going to tell you you need to push hard, you need to do it, and like get out of that posting schedule. Production problems are things that are going to happen. Now, viewer problems, this is where it gets fun. Viewer problems in the most common form come in the form of nasty and mean comments and things like that. Now, to be clear, when I get a comment that is critical and it's actually posing a problem, I'm going to address it, I'm going to talk to it. I just had one recently that I actually pinned the comment because it brought up good points. But then there's just the mean trolls. So we're going to go through, let's just see what some of mine are here. Let's see here. This guy said, I could have done a 100% better job with lumber and styrene. It's really not that difficult. Okay, not that mean. Oh, this guy's one of my favorites, by the way. You are very boring, and stop using this platform to boost your friends' dumb coffee startups, guessing you are an alcoholic. Trains won't save you. Yes.
Yeah, I got multiple comments on my YouTube shorts, which have nothing to do with trains, but they talk about the huge gap between my teeth and yeah, there's some gaps, but it's like once the size the gap, it's fine. I don't need braces, but you know what? It's fine if people think they can get away with just doing it without braces. One of them even said, I'm the reason why my braces work.
But there's a silver lining to all that. Yeah. But that's also engagement. That's the thing that people don't realize about when they make a negative comment, is that you're giving the person who's making the video a good thing, because YouTube says, hey, people are commenting on this. I should put this video out more. So yes, another question.
There are also just bad people out there that make people who do it like you.
Yeah. You're always going to find there's someone who's going to be mad about anything and everything that you do. You can't worry about that. If it's a legitimate issue or concern, that's totally different. But if there are people who are just going to be mean for the sake of being mean. I know it's easier said than done, but you just got to not worry about it. Some of these other comments, let's see here. I'm surprised that Train World sponsored such a dumb video. I've been doing model railroading for years and can agree on only 2 of the topics. This was 5 things I don't like about model railroading. So everything else is so stupid not to mention. Let's see here. Non-sharp video, not close enough, stupid music, no good. Also, there's a lot of people who don't like my music. You'll say, lose the music's annoying and loud. Why the background music? Please, no music while you're talking. Oh, and this guy just said I was stupid. So, my point is that these people are not only just being mean, but they're actually helping you by giving you a comment. Now, there's a couple ways to handle this. Oh no, I forgot about this guy. This guy spent 6 months harassing me. I enjoy your videos, but you talk too much. Yes, this video can be easily cut down to 4 minutes and be just as informative. Very informative. Yeah, Jim is pretty smart and all, but he still talks too much. Very annoying. Not personally a fan of Jim, but mad credit to his consistent uploads in advanced technology and model railroad. Designing a layout is for psychopaths. You are totally wrong. So this was over about 6 months, and basically I ignored him. And he finally was like, he's not giving me the attention if I'm just being mean. So you can see him kind of start to get a little bit nicer and a little bit nicer, and then he just got frustrated. That was his last comment. So how do we approach negative comments? There's 2 main ways to do that. One is to ignore it. It counts as engagement. Just ignore it. They want attention. You can actually do something called shadow banning as well, where you just mute them and they still think they're commenting, but they're not. And the other one is to use it to your benefit. I had a commenter when I announced that I was doing an HO scale switching layout, and he said, I thought you were only an N-scaler, and went on this little 2-paragraph long tirade. And so, I made a video about it, and that got me some good views and everything. So if someone's going to be consistently mean to you like that, you can also use it to your benefit and make a video that's going to get you some views. Now let's talk about some things to remember. Number 1, this is a hobby. What are hobbies for? You're going to have fun. So if you're not having fun doing this, take a break, stop doing it, those kind of things. You got to have fun doing this. Now, I'm not saying if it's hard work, stop doing it, but don't work yourself up over a video. There's a myth that YouTube punishes you for one bad video. I've had plenty of bad videos. My video last Monday did terribly. So don't work yourself up over a bad video. Just keep on going and learn from the experience. And then most importantly, do what you think is best. Now, my one big thing that I will give you advice on, this is one thing I've seen, and I forgot to put this in the presentation, is that the one thing you have to remember about doing YouTube, or if you're going to do TikTok, or you're going to do Instagram Reels or anything like that, is that you have to bring value. If you want to build this and not just do it for fun, you have to bring value to people. People don't owe you anything to watch. I have seen plenty of people who think that just because they're posting videos that they should be getting thousands of views. People on the internet don't owe you anything, and you have to bring value to them. It's like being a salesperson. So if you take that mentality that you are trying to give something to someone, you're going to do a lot better than thinking that you're owed something. And now I will open it up to questions about literally anything and everything. Yes,
Really
sir.
quick, shadow banning, you talk about like hide from channel?
Yeah, hide from channel.
Thank
yeah.
you, okay, good. I've been
Yeah.
using that very well.
That is a very great tool for those really mean, consistent commenters. So,
Yeah.
any other questions about trains or anything? Yes.
Use edit video.
Do what?
Use the edit video.
I use Adobe Premiere. So I've been in the Adobe suite for probably 15 years now. So that's just what I use. But you can use literally anything that works for you. There's Final Cut. You can use CapCut for on your phone or anything like that. All that matters is that it makes the product look the way you want it. Any other questions for YouTube, trains, or
Yeah,
anything?
YouTube, how do you make sure that the videos you like or the channels you like pop up a lot with recommended videos instead of just like going off away and then you eventually forget about them and have to
So-
go back?
That is the $1 million question. The key to doing anything with YouTube is you have to look at your title and thumbnail, and that's going to be your big thing. Think of those as your billboard, as your advertisement. And what he's asking is about how do you get to see that. So you have to make sure you want to do some curiosity and intrigue. Those are the two things that you really want to have on there. Yes, sir.
How many different platforms do you post on?
I primarily post on YouTube, and I primarily post YouTube long form. I also share stuff on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. And the main reasons I do those is just to mainly help with the channel. YouTube has the best partner program out there. It's not even close. The rest of them have things called creator funds. YouTube shares the ad revenue with you. And they also want to see you succeed. So I post that mainly to do that, and that's why I use Buffer. I just stick videos in there and put good clips of information in those. But that's what I mainly do. I also do TikTok because there are a lot of younger people. I actually said this in my video on Thursday. There are so many young model railroaders out there on TikTok. It is amazing to see. Yes, sir.
Any tips and tricks for like getting people's attention or growing basically?
The big thing would be to just, what I do is I have a thing of ideas, and I have a list on my phone, so whenever an idea pops in my head, it goes on the list so that I don't lose it. The second thing is you really got to focus on that title and thumbnail, because those are your billboards, those are your advertisements, and establish that intrigue and that curiosity. It's not like when you're selling something, you need to put everything in the title. You got to get people to think, well, what's that about? I want to watch it a little bit. And you don't want to say something that's not in the video. You want to make sure you deliver on that, so don't go teasing something kind of crazy and then it's just not there. You want to make sure you're being truthful in it, but you also want to do curiosity and intrigue as well.
Clickbait.
Yeah, clickbait, right, yeah.
Just tied to that, do hashtags work in the titles anymore, or is it not really a search tool? Because I hear both sides of that. Do hashtags work in the titling?
So it's interesting because some people say they do, some people say they don't. Keywords in YouTube don't work. YouTube actually says that when you're uploading a video, it says these are good for spelling errors, but they don't help with search. Hashtags are really good for things like shorts. They're really good for things like Reels, TikTok, and that kind of stuff. Those are good because you can actually have saved searches for those. But in terms of YouTube, I haven't had enough yes/no detail to be able to give a definitive answer on
Do you use them then?
I have tried it before.
Okay.
And I do use it on short form video.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
I'm new to YouTube revenue stream.
Yes.
What's the structure of that? How does that work, the revenue share? What's the potential?
Well, YouTube does I think it's a 70-30 split, or 60, I can't remember what exactly the split is, but basically whatever ad revenue you make, they share it with you. There's two numbers. There's the cost per milli and the revenue per milli. And the cost per milli is what they're charging per 1,000 viewers. And then there's the revenue per milli, which is what you're making per 1,000 views. And then once a month, you get paid out. It's usually the 21st or the 22nd.
How do you initiate that, or do they contact you? How does that work?
You have to apply to be in the partner program. I think they lowered it down to, it used to be 4,000 watch hours and
Yeah, now it's
1,000
3,000.
subscribers. Now it's down to 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. I will say that a lot of the channels are still trying to figure out how to make money off of short form videos, whether it's YouTube Shorts, whether it's TikTok, all that kind of stuff. TikTok's probably the furthest ahead on it. But I laughed so hard at some of my revenue over like 6 months, and all the shorts I posted, I made like a total of $7. So they're still trying to figure that out. Short form right now, and it's going to change because everybody's invested in it, is really good for discoverability and not necessarily revenue generation.
Yeah, that's where I get my subscribers.
Right, yes. Yes, in the back.
I think that I'm not to really process a lot of what you're just saying. So you're not really making a living doing your videos. It's
Oh,
just-
Lord, no, this is my side hustle.
It's just a nice thing for those of us who get sick, right?
Yeah, it's a nice. I enjoy doing it. Model railroading is expensive. We can all agree on that. Yeah. Like I said, like we talked at the beginning, you're saving me money by keeping me out of there. But yeah, it's nice. It helps me afford the hobby, and it helps me do like a few nice things for my family as well. And that's really why I do it. I have no interest in taking this full time, mainly because when you go full time, the views matter a lot more.
So how much time do you spend in a week doing it, and how much time is your family doing it individually? Average, maybe.
Well, that's an interesting question because it's kind of piecemeal with me, with having 4-year-olds. And what I do basically is I kind of work on it at night a couple times a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. I try to get ahead. My wife will shake her head and say, you don't. But I really try to do that. And I also try to involve my kid. My son loves trains, and him and I will just sit there and run trains some days. Usually when my daughter goes to dance, him and I will go up and run trains, and he gets to pick whatever he wants to run. We usually say you get to pick 3 trains to run around the layout because they take forever to put on and off. But that's really how I get my family involved. And I'm also, because it's online, I am a little bit protective of my family, which is something, you can't put everything and everything out there. I'm kind of amazed at some of these people that are parenting bloggers and all that kind of stuff that just put their kids out everywhere. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that. So, yeah, that's, I would say, probably between 10 and 20 hours a week is what I would do. 20 on the high end if I have a really, really, really difficult, time-consuming project. But yeah. Yes.
Question for you. Video suggestions, like you want to see something, I don't want to hijack another video that's about something completely different. Any suggestions on how best to contact you, or just do it right video, you don't care, or?
So one of the perks I do offer my patrons is I do try to respond to them the most because they do pay for that. And if anyone has questions about Patreon as well, I can answer that. But also I have my email in every video. That is a specific community email, DDRR community. And also I have the one that I probably pay the most attention consistently to the comments is going to be the monthly Q&A. And a lot of times I've gotten video ideas out of that Q&A. I try to look at as many comments I can. I get a lot. And I can't get to all of them, but that's probably email in terms of ways that you don't have to be on Patreon. Email and putting them in that Q&A are probably the best spots. You'll at least, if you ask a question when a Q&A video comes out, you'll at least probably get it answered in the Q&A.
You see responses in the comments. I've actually commented back
Oh, really?
sometimes. But like I said, I didn't want to hijack a video on something else.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. People do it all the time.
Engagement matters.
Engagement matters. Yes.
So I remember a while back you were considering starting a model railroad club in Western North Carolina. Have
Yeah.
you given any more thought into that? Is that going to be something coming sooner, or is that going to be further down the road?
It's probably gonna be further down the road. Right now, a lot of my folk, like I've got about everything I can handle, and I really just want to make sure that I'll say this also. I talked about I didn't say it about personal problems. My family always comes first. If there's an issue and everything, I will just post a community comment that says there will not be a video today. But what I want to do is maybe more like a kind of what sipping and switching does, but there's an in-scale version. I think that T-Track is an amazing opportunity for people trying to get into the hobby. that don't have the space. The new layout that I'm building is T-track. I just finished detailing the second module for that, so that's what's going to be Monday, by the way. But yeah, just an organization where someone can get a space together and we can all bring T-track modules. I would probably get some extras just to be as space fillers, but that would probably be what I would want to do. No dues, no anything, just I really like the sipping and switching model. Yes?
How did you get into using Arduino versus whatever else for motivation?
So when I started, I was intrigued by DCC++. Before it was DCC-EX. And I was like, well, if it can do that, what else can it do? And I started just Googling Arduinos, and how many of y'all been down a Google rabbit hole? And I said, well, I bet, I'm interested in signaling. So the first one I built was the block signal. And that one's kind of expanded into a lot of other things. But that's really kind of how I got into it. I think that there's a lot of great proprietary systems out there. Digitrax is just miles ahead of a lot of people. But also there's just some custom things that I want to do that, I don't want to have to spend, $200 trying to figure it out just to see that I've got the wrong way the signals are supposed to work. So having that where I can just tweak it, and I'm a tinkerer, I'm not an engineer, I'm a video producer, so I'm not a software engineer or anything like that, so my code is not the prettiest. Some people have definitely let me know that online. But yeah, when it comes to that, it just goes to my tinkering nature. I think a lot of us who are model rollers are tinkerers at heart because we just love messing and playing. So. Anybody else? I'll do one last call. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you all gotten something out of this. I'll stand up here for a few more minutes if you want to come out and talk one-on-one, but I don't want to hold y'all from the trains. And lunch for that matter, because it's 12:05. So I bet some of y'all are hungry.